Welcome back, my dear viewers, to the kitchen. I'm sure you all must be waiting to know what's on the menu today. Well, let me tell you, today's recipe is one of a kind. This recipe sits right with everything and everyone. No matter how famous you might be, this magical dish will instantly satisfy you and your growling stomach. Without further delays, let's introduce you to today's dish. Today we plan to make lasagna soup in our kitchen. Yes, you heard it right. It's lasagna soup. I'm sure you all have heard about regular soup, but this recipe has a wonderful twist, and that's what makes it extra special. Don't worry, by the end of the video you will not only learn to make the best lasagna soup, but will crave for it every week. The best part? It would become the highlight of your dinner menu. Your friends and family won't be able to turn away from this delicacy this winter season, and you might be surprised to know that even your kids will love it. I know how tough it is to feed kids. They throw multiple tantrums and parents just can't find the right nutritious meal for them. But now your worries are over. This soup sits just right with adults and children. So let's get ready to unlock the mystery behind our lasagna soup. Alright, now the first step is to get all the necessary ingredients. You see, the perfect soup requires all fresh ingredients. Honestly, it's important to give considerable time to your preparation. If you start making any recipe without the complete list of ingredients and you think you can omit a few items here and there, you won't be able to get the same impactful flavor. So, always make a list of ingredients and gather them on one corner of the kitchen shelf. For our soup, we need 500 grams of ground beef or Italian sausage, 2 onions, 1 garlic, crushed tomatoes, 1 cup of tomato sauce or puree, half a cup of beef broth, lasagna noodles, Italian seasoning, 1 cup of ricotta cheese, 1 cup of mozzarella cheese, half a cup of Parmesan cheese, salt as per taste, half tablespoon pepper, fresh basil for garnish, but that is optional. If you don't have it, no harm in skipping it. Okay, so half of your work is done. Now all that's left is tossing everything in the pan. However, first things first, let's chop up the garlic, tomatoes, and onions. Try dicing the tomatoes and onions finely so that when you add them to the meat, they blend in nicely and easily. When you're done with all the chopping, start by working on that meat. You will need to brown the meat. Take a large pot and place it on medium-high heat. Now pour in your meat or sausages until they're brown and add some salt and pepper for taste. Make sure to not add too much salt or pepper because it can ruin the overall flavor of the dish. Of course, the right flavor depends on your taste buds, so keep your preference first. As you add your salt and pepper, give it a good stir to let it all spread evenly. Give it about 10 to 15 minutes and don't go above medium-high flame. Once the meat is done, drain the grease and put the meat in another container. Don't discard the pot because we're going to use it in the next step. Give a few minutes to your meat to cool off. Meanwhile, take the same pot you previously used and heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil. No issue if you don't have olive oil. You could use any oil, but I prefer olive oil because it gives a fresh color to all my meals. And the flavorful smell of the oil is just too good to miss out on. Well, now that your oil is hot, add diced onions and fry them for another 5 minutes. Don't overheat the onions. We just want them to change their color slightly. The minute your onions are done, add in minced garlic and mix them for another minute or 2. By now, your kitchen will be filled with the fresh smell of softened garlic, and you won't be able to control your appetite. But the job isn't done here. At this point, add in your spices and sauces. Pour in the tomato paste, marinara sauce, beef broth, and spices. Mix everything and add the previously strained broth into the pot. With everything in the pot, all that's left to do is add in the cooked meat. Put the pot at medium heat and bring it to a few boils. As soon as you see bubbles at the surface, it is the cue to add in the pasta. This won't take more than 7 to 8 minutes. Remember, it's not an ordinary soup. It's a lasagna soup, so you will get the goodness of soup along with the richness of creamy lasagna. It's the best of both worlds. Coming to the pasta that's going into the pot, the first thing to keep in mind is the type and size of the pasta you're using. You're allowed to use any kind of noodles available in your pantry, but experts do recommend mafalda pasta. It's like mini lasagna noodles, and the taste and texture are 100% guaranteed. Other great choices that could give almost similar outcomes would be fusilli, rotini, or bow tie pasta. If your regular lasagna strips are a bit too long, we recommend breaking the sheets into equal parts. Once again, the partitioning is entirely up to you and your preference. Do whatever suits you. Add the pasta pieces into the pot and reduce the heat to medium-low. Let everything cook within the pot and give a few stirs after regular intervals. The occasional stirring will also let you know if the lasagna strips are tender or not. Usually, 10 to 12 minutes are more than enough for the noodles to become tender, but depending on the brand you use, this time could vary. So don't panic if your noodles don't soften in the mentioned time. Some people even cook the pasta separately and add it to the meat mixture. You could do it this way as well. There isn't anything wrong with it. Just reheat the noodles before you add them to the soup. This is also the point where you could add a few veggies to make your lasagna soup more nutritious. Spinach would be a great option. It would blend in perfectly and make the meal iron-rich. But this is our preference, and you could avoid it if green veggies don't appeal to you. The broth in the pot will take some time to cook. Since you're free, do grate all the 3 types of cheeses we mentioned in the ingredients list. You could add all the 3 cheese options: mozzarella, parmesan, and ricotta in one bowl. The good news for all the cheese lovers is that there isn't a restriction on how much cheese you can add. Our recipe does give you an exact measurement, but we don't discourage you from putting in a bit more, especially if you like it. The more the cheese, the better the taste. To add some extra flavor and color to your lasagna soup, you could add some chopped parsley or basil leaves. It's entirely optional and there is no compulsion to add any one of these. But these small things can at times elevate the flavor of your dish. If you're out of both these herbs and have some rosemary lying around, that could also be added as a replacement to these 2 options. And how can we forget about Italian seasoning? This single piece of ingredient can elevate the taste of your soup beyond your imagination. It isn't an exaggeration. These small things such as herbs and spices have the power to transform an ordinary dish into an outstanding meal. By now, your pasta must have boiled. The meat will be perfectly cooked and all the spices will be perfectly blended in with the contents of the pot. And the entire place would smell like heaven on earth. We're not joking. The smell of freshly cooked meat combined with all the right spices is just delicious. With this, you have a fresh pot of lasagna soup ready to be served with some soft and cheesy garlic bread. The minute you dish it out, you will see a beautiful orange golden color of the soup, which is a sign that your dish is cooked to perfection. Indeed, it's a perfect dish for the cold winter night. One of the best things about the winter season is that you can serve soup at any hour and everyone in your home will like it. That's why we gave you a brand new recipe to make the best soup in town. It would taste super delicious and your guests won't be able to understand if they're getting soup or lasagna. With lasagna soup, you get all the goodness of lasagna in one bowl. It's the ultimate comfort food with a fantastic cheesy flavor. The best part? You could make some additions to the soup without ruining its taste. From vegetables to different types of cheese and herbs, there are several things to use for customizing this dish. In fact, our vegetarian friends only need to switch the meat with a vegetable broth, and they can enjoy the soup. This light dish will be perfect for your family get-together or evening parties. And if there's soup left, you can refrigerate it and reheat it the next day. The taste will be as good as when you cooked it. Do remember that a good recipe requires good ingredients. If you want the perfect soup for your family, use fresh produce. There you have it, my dearest friends. 100% authentic and perfect lasagna soup for this season. I'm sure you all liked the recipe and found it easy. We kept it as simple as possible so that you can make it in your home at any time of the week. So grab your ingredients and get started with this flavorful dish. Do share your experience with us and let us know in the comments section how much you liked this new delicacy. With this, we take your leave. Till next time, take care and keep on experimenting in the kitchen. We will soon be back with another yummy and interesting dish for you guys. Don't forget to like and share this recipe with your friends and family. And do subscribe to our channel for the latest updates.